the outcome, or what happens when culture reflects creativity and craft, or when creativity and craft are infused with culture. What will be the outcome? What will come out of it when we put the two together in a blender like this? What will come out of that blending the two together? Now, let's begin by blending. So the first thing, like our mothers and many of us who go to kitchen, we have to have our ingredients. Whenever we are doing blending, there are things we are putting together. So let's start the blending together by looking at, next slide please, by looking at the ingredients that we want to blend. But before we do that, whenever we blend, there's something that we want to bring out. Culture with creativity and craft, in any sense we want to take it, we must have a purpose. We must have a purpose. What purpose does Odua Youth Coalition have in mind when asking us to blend culture with creativity? How important is the purpose of blending culture with creativity and craft to the youth, particularly the Odua Youth Coalition in the contemporary Nigeria? So my lecture today will focus on answering these 4 important questions. Now, like I said, what are we blending? So the first thing that we are blending is culture. And I'm going to say that one revered professor of economics, Professor Escotoyo, says that, and I want you to get this this short quotation. He says, a society is a social system which have 5 basic interrelated aspects. A society is a social system that has 5 basic interrelated aspects. These are technology, economy, politics, culture, and ideology. President Otoyo went further to say that of all of these 5, our political leaders, traditional institutions, educational institutions, they focus on technology and science, they focus on economy, they focus on politics, in some sense they focus on ideology, but the cultural aspects have suffered neglect, extreme neglect. So it is on this note that I commend and appreciate thoughtfulness and intellectualism of OYC for picking the theme of this year. Now, what is culture? Definitely, if nobody asks you, you know. If I ask anyone here now, just like our Honorable Commissioner was trying to showcase who dressed well, who did not dress well. When anybody asks you what is culture, it's easier to say we know what culture is. But ask somebody to define it, it becomes problematic. So this afternoon, I'm going to use 3 models to define culture so that we know what we are blending together. The first model I'm going to use is culture as norms. Culture as norms. And by culture as norms, I mean culture being set of rules, written or unwritten, that define or regulate the ways of our life. Our examples of culture as norms are our etiquettes. If I'm to give Baba Aro Gofa the other time, I'm supposed to prostrate very well. That's our etiquette. I cannot shake Baba. Our morals our values. These are our norms. The second model, because of my time, is action system, which includes our social activities, our traditions, our festivals, a variety of other performative patterns. It includes external symbols, our language, our fashion, our ceremonies, our rituals, the way we bury our people. I want to ask this question. When we listen to this proverb in Yoruba, okay, maybe I'll come back to that proverb very quickly. Let me finish with these models. Interpretation of symbols and matter. The way we interpret things around us, counts as what our culture is. The way we interpret, the way we utilize, the way we actualize symbols and material entities around us, they all counts as part of our. Now let's theorize culture. Let's theorize culture. The theories of culture that I want to look at are two. I call them, the first one, cultural essentialism, and the second one, cultural anti-essentialism. Look at the first concept, the first theory, cultural essentialism. This one says that culture is a fixed, non-transitory, a very super organic entity. It's a culture that exists and pre-exists an individual. Like one scholar said, John Butler says, an individual is born into and they are shaped by pre-existing culture that continue to exist after they die. And many of us who refer that by Yoruba want to go aṣọ ìkó tó bí wa títí tá a sì ti lọ àjọba àbọ̀ náà. Àwọn ilé tó ti bí wa rè ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ wa bàbá ló fọkàn mi ò rí kí wọ́n bí bàbá ló kọfà sínú flat. These are the kind of houses that we live in. And so our people, they have some, what I refer to as rigid sense of culture. The kind of culture that cannot be changed. It's the kind of culture that we are born into. The second theory of culture that I want to talk about is what I refer to as cultural anti-essentialism. Cultural anti-essentialism. In this sense, culture is not fixed. Its existence depends largely on our desire, what we want to do, our actions, our inactions. There is no cultural trait that is peculiar to any particular, so there is no culture of anybody. So culture is like a market where people of different society are free to choose whatever they want to call their culture. So I refer to this sense of culture as cultural flexibility. Now, that's that about culture. Very quickly, let's talk about other ingredients that we want to put together: creativity and craft. By creativity, we are talking about attributes of human beings. Every rational being, when you buy the room, can be creative. Even that you put beings together to become money, that is creativity. Put beans together to become akara, that's creativity. Sometimes you are told, what are we going to eat? And yet, especially that's why I give kudos to our mother. Please let's clap for our mothers. Let's clap for our mothers. And give kudos to our mothers. They look at what is at home. Sometimes we will be asking, they go to the kitchen, they are creative. Sometimes they do yam, they use that same yam, pounded yam, we can eat it, we can use it to porridge, we can fry it. That sense of creativity is the attribute of man. It's the power and ability to bring something out of nothing. Now whatever we bring out of nothing is called craft. That is craft. What you bring out of nothing is called craft. Now, we are done with our ingredients that we want to blend. Now let's move on to the real beauty of today. Can we blend culture with creativity and craft? The cultural essentialists will say no, because they see culture as peculiar, unchanging, unyielding, and so it will be difficult for us to blend it with creativity. It will be difficult for us to blend it with craft, because culture is rigid. For example, no matter how you say you are creative and you get old, your father is as old as Baba, and you are saying, Baba, Chwale. And you say you are being creative. Because it's possible. You cannot. And when Baba says, "Tell me not to keep it, Baba, who you get to So for that, you can't blend creativity with that sense of culture. You can't. It is, look, or you see, that's why many of us frown when you see Baba or Oni Odua, Olórí Aláyé gbogbo, kéèyàn kan máa bọ̀ Ọ̀ọ̀ni lọ́wọ́. We say we frown at it. That is not our culture. There is no sense of creativity that will make me to see a king and I will be saying, and we are waving at a king. The way we live these days, when you have your flat, you close your door, or when you are married to someone and then your mother wants to visit you, and your wife will be asking, Chimama Peni, Pesibo. Or somebody says your dad is at the gate, and your gate man is saying, sorry, you have to fill this form. The moment the Baba is filling the form, the Baba is remembering someone may not even fill form. This sense of culture cannot be mixed with creativity and craft. Now, can we blend culture with creativity and craft? Like I said, for the cultural essentialists, very difficult. But they will not say you cannot do that, but we can do that with some sense of creating new craft. We cannot create a new culture, but we can create a new craft. So, many people are already doing so. For example, Pastor Igbo, that program that we watch on YouTube, on Facebook, that is done by Olalekan Fabilola. He offers a new craft by preserving Yoruba language. Did he change Yoruba language? No, he didn't change the culture, but he developed something out of it. That is one sense of mixing our culture with our creativity. Our culture, Yoruba, mix it with what that guy came up with, and he's making money out of it. All our Nollywood actors, they are mixing culture with creativity and they are producing new crafts. There is one woman, she Mrs. Nike Okundare, who is doing wonderfully well with our clothing and crafts. He has what we call Nike Art Gallery. So we can blend culture with even that high sense of understanding of culture. We can blend our creativity with it. But let's go to cultural anti-essentialism. Cultural anti-essentialism presents culture as a supermarket. Walk in and pick whatever you want. So here, culture is dynamic, very dynamic. So if you are creative, go to the supermarket, the cultural supermarket, pick an aspect of culture, and add your creativity to it. Come up with a craft that will fill a gap in the current creative economy. That is what OYC is calling our attention to. Go to this cultural cultural market, identify your creative endowment, embellish it, and enhance it with innovations of the present age, mix it with any aspect of culture that appeals to you, and the end result is a craft that distinguishes you among other youths. Today, as we are seated here, if the camera wants to pick somebody who is exceptional, it will be somebody who does something new with our culture. Somebody who is doing something that others cannot do. Somebody who is doing something that others don't have the finance to do. So, it is possible to do so. All I ask you to do is to go to that cultural market. Another important point I want to make very quickly is that the development and deployment of artificial intelligence systems have become deeply integrated into our daily and human activities. And whether you like it or not, AI has become unavoidable in the modern world that we are in. From communication to education, to entertainment, to commerce, and to health. Artificial intelligence has increasingly affected our lives. Now the question is, how do we blend artificial intelligence with our culture? And that's where the youth that I'm speaking to today have to get thinking. Many of the youths, they carry Android phones, and all they do is to go online, to surf, to watch YouTube, watch Facebook, to do one thing or the other. But this can be used as a tool to create a niche for yourself. What is that part of culture that you can add AI to? What is that kind of culture that you can add ICT to bring out something new? We are waiting for you to do that. Very quickly, because of our time, how do we blend culture with creativity and craft? Now, though many of us call them content creators, we call them skit makers. These young people, some of them I want to mention, they have actually they've gone to the cultural market, they have picked something, and they have blended it with culture, they have blended it with our creativity, and they are producing new crafts. Let me mention just a few among them. There's a guy called Dr. Taufik Adibayo. He established Science Yoruba on the Facebook. Adibayo, the founder and director of a project which aims to make science, technology, engineering, and mathematics knowledge accessible in the indigenous Yoruba language. That guy is making millions of dollars every day. He will put something on Facebook, very unique about science, many things that nobody can talk about, and he has close to 780,000 followers, and he's making money. There's another guy, a very close student of mine, called Arojile, Mustafa Golahon. This guy, is the voice behind the popular language animal documentaries. Many of the things that we do not know about animals, this guy will use cultural elements to bring it out. There's already from Christopher Olabi. We refer to him as Goroso Ekiti. He's occupying a very unique space in the cultural social media. I invite every one of you not to carry your phone as just a means of communication. It's a tool. Use it, and how do you use it? What OYC is asking you to do is mix it with one content of culture. Adibayo, mix it with science. Alodile, mix it with animal. Goroso, mix it with language. There's another person that we are waiting for to mix it with actually deal, to mix it with actually wabada, to mix it with many other things that we are doing in Yoruba land. What is important for us is the craft that we want to produce. And what is the importance of blending culture with creativity and craft? The importance is that you are creating a new order in the creative economy. Let me tell you, the way Bola Tinubu and the politicians of Nigeria are going is that unless you create a space for yourself, you will be a follower. For you to be a leader, you have to create something for yourself that other people are looking for. So a new order in the creative economy is what this blending will give. This blending will give us an ability for you to meet needs. I don't know, in your environment, in your school, in your place of work, there is a specific need that if you blend culture, creativity together, you can come up with a craft that other people are looking for. It will give you a value. It will give your culture a value, and it will give your nation a value. A craft that will make you a player, not a spectator. That is what blending culture, creativity, and craft can give you. Let me conclude by saying that there is a space waiting to be filled. Will you take up that challenge? And I'm happy that I'm addressing young students behind our elders today. Once again, I urge you, go to that cultural supermarket. Pick an aspect of culture. It doesn't have to be Yoruba culture. The NYC guys are here. They are from different states. You can pick an aspect of outside culture, mix it with your creativity, mix it with something new, and then you are producing a craft. Come up with a craft that fills a gap in the current creative economy, and you'll be recognized for it. I thank all for listening to me, and I thank you for the opportunity to give this short lecture. But before, so, bro, you want to do together? Okay, so I'd like us to ask questions. I'll be glad to respond to few. And if there are questions I cannot respond to, thank God Baba is here. Thank God the governor is here. Thank God the senator is here. Thank you very much.
Nígbà tí wọ́n fún mi lówó léèwé nígbà náà jọ lọ́wọ́ pé wọn ò fi jẹja, pé wọn ò fi jàkàrà yá ṣínà, bóyá ìpínlẹ̀ bá gbé èkó díẹ̀ ní ti ọ̀jọ̀gbọ́n Gbénga Fásìkò, àmọ́ ṣe ni láàánú ìwọ̀nba tá a rí ṣàlẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ títí àti àwọn díẹ̀díẹ̀ tá a gbọ́ lẹ́nu ọ̀mọ̀wé Kọ́lá Fádọ́hùn. Ìlà fi túmọ̀ ẹni bá sọ létí wa bó tẹ̀tẹ̀ gbà nílé sọ. A máa dúpẹ́ púpọ̀ lọ́wọ́ ọ̀jọ̀gbọ́n wa fún ìdánilẹ́kọ̀ọ́ àti ìdánilẹ́yọ̀ tí wọ́n ṣe. Kẹ́ ẹ lè mọ̀ pé etí ọ̀jọ̀gbọ́n Fásìkò sọ ó nítumọ̀ ó ní kìíní. Bí wọ́n ṣe jókòó ní Ìbàdàn ọ̀rùnsẹ̀ ìdí alọ́kọ̀ọ́fà fún wọn lómi dé gbà káàbọ̀ mú mi kọ́kàn rẹ̀ ó balẹ̀ ẹ bá mi fún bàbá látẹ̀wọ́. Bàbá ọkọ̀ ya kọjú sí Láyọ̀ ọ̀kẹ́ ìdílé pé gbogbo èyí tó wí àpò ara rẹ̀ lọ wí sí. Àmọ́ àwọn bàbá tí wọ́n ti lo tó lé lọ́gọ́ta ọdún láti fi jà fún òmìnira ilẹ̀ Yorùbá tí wọ́n wá lẹ́nu tí ó ṣe ìdánilẹ́kọ̀ọ́ lórí àṣà àti ìṣe tí wọ́n wá ní à bó o ṣe dé yìí omi rèé omi láti fi ń ṣàlejò ilẹ̀ Yorùbá gbà kó o mú kọ́kàn rẹ̀ ọba rẹ̀ ó tún mi ẹ dákun ẹ bá mi fún ọ̀jọ̀gbọ́n Fásùkù látẹ̀wọ́. a fi àyè gba ìbéèrè àbí àfikún láti ọwọ́ àwọn èèyàn wa tí wọ́n wà níbí. Mo kí akọ̀wé ẹgbẹ́ òṣèlú PDP nípìnlẹ̀ Ondo agbẹjọ́rò Ṣẹ̀yẹ Olújèmí, mo kí wọn pé wọ́n ká sáré wa. Mo kí àràbà wo ìlú Òkè Àgbẹ̀ Àkókò ọ̀rẹ́ mi ẹni bí èèyàn mi Ayọ̀ Ògèdègbé, mo kí kó ká sáré wa. Ẹ já fún wa látẹ̀wọ́. Nípa gbígbé àṣà àti ìṣe ilẹ̀ Yorùbá lárugẹ, ó lé ní èèbù aláwọ̀ funfun ogún tí mo mọ̀ tí wọ́n ti wá sí ìpínlẹ̀ Ondo láti kọ́ nípa àṣà, ìṣe àti ẹ̀sìn Ifá lọ́dọ̀ Àràbà Ògèdègbé tí a sì rí bí wọ́n ṣe tó bá jẹ́ pé nígbà tí kan àbí méjì wá ó padà lọ tí wọ́n wá láti wá kẹ́kọ̀ọ́ nípa rẹ̀ wọn ò rí kọ́ yanjú àwọn òbí òbí wá wo bí wọ́n sì ti ṣe wá náà ni wọ́n fi sórí ayélujára pé ní ta káwọn eléyìí ta káwọn eléyìí lára bí tí wọ́n ti gbé ìròrí tuntun wọnú àṣà àti ìṣe lọ pé a tún lè káwọn ọmọ lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ a lè kọ́ wọn láṣà a lè kọ́ wọn lẹ́sìn ìṣẹ̀ṣe látara orí ayélujára ẹ láti bá mi fún Àràbà Ògèdègbé látàwọn lẹ́yìn sí. mo sì ní bẹ̀ẹ́lì náà pé ó kú ìdúró látẹ̀kan nítorí lára àwọn kankan tí ó sọnù nínú àṣà wa látọjọ́ díẹ̀ sẹ́yìn ni títú èèbó lọ́nà àìtọ́ sí Yorùbá tó sì jẹ́ pé à ń fi àṣìkè àwọn kankan pé tí wọn ò jẹ́ lára rẹ̀ ní nígbà tí àwọn tí ó tún sétà sí èdè Yorùbá tí wọ́n wo tí wọ́n lè fi sétà gbé tí sétà bí àṣà wọn lẹ́yìnbó kò lè exist nínú àṣà àti ìṣe Yorùbá. Wọ́n bá ní lára òòṣà tí à ń sìn tí à ń pè ní Èṣù ní oríta pé òun ní ìṣe rẹ̀ jọmọ́ sétà ẹ jẹ́ ká tú kí sétà ó máa jẹ́ Èṣù. Àmọ́ àwọn oníṣẹ̀ṣe kan wá dìde pé sétà tẹ́ ẹ̀ bá rí tú ẹ pè ní Sàtánì nítorí ọ̀rọ̀ àjèjì ni kò jọmọ́ tí a mọ̀ tí ó dájú ní àṣà àti ìṣe Yorùbá làwọn kan ṣe wá kóra wọn jẹ pé wọ́n ó máa lọ́kùn rẹ̀ wọ́n máa kọ́ ilé káàkiri pé sétàdó kì í ṣe Èṣù ìdí jẹ́ Èṣù nínú gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọ̀jọ̀gbọ́n Fásùkù ṣe máa ń pè nínú kọ́sọ̀tọ́lọ́jì Yorùbá ó yàtọ̀ sí tí àwọn ilé ìbò mọ̀ sí sétà lára àwọn tí wọ́n sì wà lọ́wọ́ wájú tí wọ́n ṣe ìdánilẹ́kọ̀ọ́ yìí káàkiri ibi tí wọ́n ti sọ èdè Yorùbá náà ni arákùnrin Bẹ̀rẹ̀lì òkè tí ó káàkiri lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí ó sì kú iṣẹ́ akẹ́kọ̀ọ́ tí ń ṣe lára àwọn iṣẹ́ tí ń ṣe náà ni ìlanilọ́yẹ̀ lórí ìdí tí a fi gbúdọ̀ máa gbé orúkọ Yorùbá lárugẹ nítorí tí a bá wò ní tòótọ́ orúkọ Yorùbá rẹwà ó dùn pé ó ní ìtumọ̀ tó jọjú tí ó yàtọ̀ sí àwọn orúkọ àjèjì bí orúkọ èèbó orúkọ lágbáwá bí èyí tí bàbá mi sọ mí tí mo ti kọ́ lẹ̀ àti àwọn nǹkan tó jọ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ́pọ̀ tí à ń sọ àwọn ọmọ wa tí ó yàtọ̀ sí orúkọ ẹgbẹ́ kí àwọn wa sọ̀rọ̀ sẹ̀dé arúgbó tàbí àpẹẹrẹ sẹ̀dé arúgbọ̀fà tá a bá tún sẹ̀dé o ó ní gẹ́gẹ́ bí àṣẹlẹ̀ ó ní prefix tó wà bẹ́ẹ̀ ó lè jẹ́ ọmọ sẹ̀dé ni ó lè jẹ́ akí sẹ̀dé àwọn bàbá ó sọ fún àgbàtà sọ̀rọ̀ ọ̀rọ̀ wọn bá tó bìkọ́ àwọn Yorùbá máa ń sọ pé ilé dàrú ká tó sọmọ lórúkọ tá a bá sì wọ arúgbọ̀fà ó ní tí wọ́n rò kí orúkọ tó jáde tá a bá wọ ọ̀jọ̀gbọ́n Olúgbénga Fásùkù ó ní tí wọ́n rò kí wọ́n tó mú ọ̀rọ̀ jáde Adékọ́lá Adédayọ̀ Fálọ́hùn ó ní tí wọ́n rò kí wọ́n tó mú àwọn orúkọ jáde ìyá wa Ọ̀ṣìn ẹ̀rí nígbà tí mo fẹ́ pe Ọ̀ṣìn kan ní wọ́n àjọ fi aṣọ wọn pé tòótọ́ Ọ̀ṣìn ni mo jẹ́ ó ní táwọn lérò kí wọ́n tó pe Ọ̀ṣìn kí ló wá ní tó wá jẹ́ bí àwọn àtòní marvelous miracle Cynthia oríṣiríṣi tí àlejò bẹ́ẹ̀ ní àfọ àwọn ọmọ wa lára àwọn tí Bẹ̀rẹ̀lì àti Àràbà wọ́n pè dárúkọ lórí ẹ̀rọ ayélujára nígbà tí a wá retí àwọn tí wọ́n gbọ́ ìbéèrè a ó fi àyè gba ìbéèrè mẹ́ta torí àkókò wa àmọ́ nígbà tí àwọn tí wọ́n fẹ́ kọ ìbéèrè kí wọ́n kọ́ lẹ̀ kí a lè fún tá a bá ní ká fún àwọn èèyàn láàyè kí wọ́n wá máa béèrè fúnra wọn ìbéèrè ó máa bí ìbéèrè àwọn àgbẹ̀wò ẹ̀jẹ̀ kí a kọ ìbéèrè wa mẹ́ta ọmọ tó bá wọlé làásìgbà nígbà tí a dúró kí àwọn ìbéèrè wọlé a ó pe bàbá wa Báṣọ̀run Sẹ̀ǹdé arúgbó àtúndà àwọn ní bàbá àtòní tẹ́lẹ̀ lè mọ̀ pé ní father of the day a sì ní jẹ́ kí bàbá ó béèrè náà pẹ̀lú pé àwọn pọ̀ máa bu àkàtà tó wà bí láti wá síwájú bí ibi gẹrẹjẹ báyìí là bá àgbà ẹ bá mi kú agbábẹ́ èkó kejì ẹ bá mi kú lọ bá bàbá bíi tí wọ́n wà àràbà bàbá ẹni abáná bàbá yẹn ní bàbá kí Báṣọ̀run Sẹ̀ǹdé arúgbó kí wọ́n gbọ́ wa gbólóhùn láàrin ìṣẹ́jú méjì sí mẹ́ta kí a lè kọ́ lu abala ìbéèrè àti ìdáhùn gbọ́dọ̀wọ́ yẹn ní àgbàlagbà àyọ̀dá yìí láti bá wa sọ ẹ̀ láti bá fún bàbá láti wọ́n.
láti ẹ̀ ní ìpolówó yìí sọ gẹ̀ẹ́sì ẹ̀ wọ́n ti sọ títí títí wọ́n ti fi kọ́ títí tí ó ti sọ mi láìpẹ́ yìí àwọn tó ti ń bá lọ ọ̀pọ̀ ìgbà fẹ́ ìṣòro méjì yóò sọ àwọn ìbánirọ̀ náà wà bí àwọn ìbánirọ̀ ti ní ìdúró ti ìjọba ìjọba Nàìjíríà àforíjì ti bá sọ̀rọ̀ torí ìdágbé ní àṣà làwa ṣe gbé lọ́dọ̀ orí níyà àwọn tí wọ́n ṣáájú ní aṣojú gómìnà ìjọsìn márùn-ún nígbà ọmọ ìjọ ẹ̀jọ́ tó pè mí márùn-ún ìjọba bàbá pé orúkọ yìí wá wọ́n ní sọ́jọ́ ọkọ̀ tí ìbẹ̀ sọ mí lẹ́yìn ẹ̀ ó ní bàbá mi yẹ pé ọ̀sán bàbá yẹ pé ọ̀la sẹ́yìn ní ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ sẹ́yìn ọ̀la sẹ́yìn ìyẹn ó ní túmọ̀ gidigidi pé nínú ẹbí wa lórí àwọn tí èmi yẹn ní àkókò tó bá lọ nígbà sí ní ẹbí wa wọ́n á rí pé àwọn ọkọ tá ti sọ̀rọ̀ tẹ́lẹ̀ pẹ̀lú ìrànlọ́wọ́ àwọn aṣáájú sókè ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ní ìfẹ́ arúgbó fọ̀ tẹ́lẹ̀ sọ orúkọ ológun nìyẹn arúgbó orúkọ ológun ni lórí àwọn bàbá wọn àwọn ọmọ àti ẹ̀dá ogun tápà lọ́jọ́ yẹn àwọn adájọ́ wọn Yorùbá fẹ́ràn pé tí adájọ́ ogun space àwọn tápà wọ́n bá fa wàhálà tó pọ̀ ní adájọ́ yẹn àwọn bàbá wa ní ìlú mi orúkọ ńlá náà wọ́n jẹ́ ohun gbogbo lónìí láti ọ̀pẹ́ mi bẹ́ẹ̀ ló jẹ́ wọ́n ti bàbá mi nígbà yẹn ó máa wọ́n ti ká ẹ̀kọ́ sí wọn ó máa ń gbàdá ìyọ́fẹ́ pé ní àrùn ọ̀pọ̀ bí òkèrè òkun tábàkítà lọ́jọ́ ọ̀pọ̀ àrùn ọ̀pọ̀ bí òkèrè òkun wọ́n yẹn tó láti ẹ̀mí wọ́n fún àlàyé kan tí ẹ̀tún tẹ̀rí lọ́sọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀ṣẹ́ fún ọ̀pọ̀ ẹ̀kọ́ sí ẹ̀yìn ọmọ Yorùbá àwọn ọmọ òkú àgbọ̀ púpọ̀ àwọn ọmọ tí ẹ̀dẹ̀ ṣe àgbèrò yìí lórí àwọn náà gbà púpọ̀ púpọ̀ wọ́n gẹ́gẹ́ bí pẹ̀lú tó ti kọ́ ilé ti jẹ́ lórí ọ̀rọ̀ àṣà àti ìpìlẹ̀ nǹkan tí èmi rò pé ó ṣe kókó jù ọ̀rọ̀ èdè àbí ẹ̀kọ́ àbí àṣà wa ní pé kí àṣà wa má parẹ́ torí tí àṣà bá parẹ́ ẹ̀yà parẹ́ nìyẹn bí èdè bá parẹ́ ẹ̀yà parẹ́ nìyẹn báwọn àṣà wa wọ́n máa ń gbà méjì ẹ̀dùn bá bí méjì gbà yìí wọ́n lè mú ọ̀gá.